Good morning. This is the Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, March 31st, 2020. I am your chair, Sean Flowerday. On my left is Vice Chair and Commissioner Rick Vest and Commissioner Deb Shore. On my right is Commissioner Roma Amundsen and Commissioner Krista Yoakum. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Mr. Clerk, please begin.
A copy of the Nebraska Open Meetings Act is located on the wall at the rear of the hearing room. Additionally, a copy of all written material to be discussed at today's open meeting is available from the county clerk's staff at the front of the hearing room. The material can also be viewed on the county's website at lancaster.ne.gov. Agenda item 1 are minutes. Approval of the minutes of the Board of Commissioners meeting held on Tuesday, March 24th, 2020.
I move approval of the minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Yoakum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 2 are claims. Approval of all claims processed through March 31st, 2020, and want to remind you that it needs to be amended to include the payroll ending March 25th.
I move approval of the claims, including the payroll disbursements as presented.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Yoakum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 3 are consent items. These are routine business items that are expected to be adopted without dissent. Any individual item may be removed for special discussion and consideration by a commissioner or by any member of the public without prior notice. Unless there's an exception, these items will be approved as one with a single vote of the Board of Commissioners. These items are approval of amendments of the following contracts. C-17-190 with Culligan of Lincoln for annual supply water softener salt. C-18-168 with All Needs Computer and Mailing Services for annual services pre-sort mailing services. C-19-566 with Cedars Youth Services, Inc. for the Crisis Stabilization Program. Amendments to the following contracts for pharmacy services for general assistance clients. General assistance clients. C-18-230 with Genoa Healthcare LLC. C-18-188 with SAKRX LLC doing business as Coles RX. Amendments to the following contracts for annual service preventive maintenance services for automobiles and light trucks. C-17-285 with Metzger's Auto Service and Lincoln Lube. C-17-286 with Walker Tire Quick Nicks. Third Amendment to grant contract C-19-524 with Lighthouse Inc. for the Restorative Justices Program. Utility permit number 1946 allowing Windstream Nebraska LLC to replace underground cable on the east side of South 82nd Street right-of-way from Roca Road north for approximately 2,950 linear feet. There is no cost to the county.
Move approval of the consent items?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Yoakum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundsen,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. Number 4 is new business. 4A is a recommendation from the purchasing agent and county assessor to award a contract for office furniture and installation, bid number 19303, and to encompass the total amount is $152,049.18.
Rob Ogden, County Assessor, Register of Deeds. This is finally getting the finalization of our systems furniture that will hopefully be installed once the remodel is done in July. There may be a delay in it getting delivered because of Michigan putting whatever. But this takes care of us for at least the next 10-year future that we're looking at. So I'm excited to be able to get it done out of my budget this year.
Very good.
Okay, move approval.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0. 4B is a recommendation from the Lancaster County Pension Review Committee for the following funds to remain on the watch list for purposes of the Lancaster County Employee Retirement and 457 Deferred Compensation Plan Statement of Overall Investment Objectives and Policy. This includes Fidelity Advisor New Insights Fund Class 1 and PGIM QMA Small Cap Value Fund Class R6.
Good morning, it's Kerry Egan, Chief Administrator for you guys, and also the Chair of the Pension Review Committee. The two funds that we are recommending continuing on the watch list have been underperforming for a while. I know Commissioner Amundson expressed some concern maybe it's time to replace these funds. Based on advice, though, from Frank Piccarelli at Siegel Marco and Siegel, or also Prudential, we might want to just hold on another half year because we have a dramatically different market situation. These two funds have not performed well because the risk markets have been rewarding a different style than the funds have, and already year to date when we had our committee meeting, Fidelity was 3% higher than the benchmark and higher than all its peers at that point. So with the change in market, we think we ought to get the first quarter results and the second quarter results. If things haven't changed by then we probably need to pull the trigger. And in the meantime, Frank Piccarelli will start looking for some replacement funds. Fidelity especially because it's part of the Goalmaker product, which means it's, so that's a key fund. And while it hasn't performed, I mean, you still look at the results, it made 30% last year.
Right,
So
right.
it's not like this fund is losing money, it's just not making money at the rate that the other large cap growth funds are making. So it's been a good fund, but it is not meeting the criteria for investment policy. So I'd ask the board to approve leaving these two funds on the watch list.
I would move to approve leaving these two funds on the watch list.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to leave these on the watch list. Is there any discussion?
I just really appreciate Carrie's efforts in this to keep us informed and make these somewhat complicated issues simple for us. Thank you so much for keeping us posted, Carrie.
What I've learned in my short time now on the Pension Review Committee and just kind of diving into this stuff is that they really have the people who have been shepherding the county employees' pension through the last few years have really done an excellent job. Obviously, we took a hit like everybody else. Effectively, we lost more or less a year in our pension review as opposed to 3 or 4 years, which is what many people lost in ours. So it's while we took a hit, was less of a hit than many did. So I just think they've done a good job. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
Mr. Clerk, I'm going to pause you here real quick. We have previously said that we want to have a standing item for COVID response on this. Do we need to do an emergency item? Because we do have a couple of things to discuss, I think.
Okay, we have some items set for Thursday as well. The amendment of the Family Medical Leave Act with the federal legislation, we need to discuss that in relation to our policy. Jen, do you need your discussion on the directives from the health department on this Thursday as well?
Well, I guess before we talk about this, if you're wanting to add the COVID item, you need to make the motion to add the emergency item because of the emergency.
I will move that we add the emergency item discussion of COVID-19 and impacts on the county.
A second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carried 5-0.
Okay. Carrie, you were
So
saying?
other than the items that I have for Thursday, which I don't think we're prepared to discuss those today, so I'm not aware of any other items, but the board might have some additional discussion.
I think I don't think there's anything to prepare for this necessarily. I think the big thing that we need to decide is, are we doing future in-person meetings? I'm becoming more adamant every week now that we shouldn't be doing in-person meetings anymore. I think it's I think it's a safety concern. I think we're also not leading by example, and we need to when the technology affords us the option to meet from a safe distance or a safe location, I think we need to be taking that option. So that's my opinion. Roma? Yeah.
As I was talking with Ann yesterday, I said that I was beginning to rethink my insistence upon being here at the time when because we are requiring some employees to be here. At that time, I said, I think that we need to set the example. But yesterday, when we were talking, I said, I really am rethinking that, and I think that we need to do it remotely.
Well, in any other crisis, you'd be right? I mean, a tornado or an earthquake, whatever, you'd be exactly right, because those things, it is important to have leadership present and available and accessible. The problem is that this crisis is expressly exploiting our accessibility and our availability. Commissioner Shore, sorry.
No, I'll just echo those comments. As you can see, our agenda has continued to shrink, which is a good thing. I mean, people are prioritizing what's important, and the risk for a couple agenda items for the exposure, I don't believe is worth it. So even though I had advocated for Zoom on Thursdays and in person on Tuesdays in the last 3 or 4 days, I as well have changed my mind and believe we should go completely electronic.
We all knew that at some point this would be the direction we would need to go. It was just a matter of time. I do certainly want employees to know that we are certainly still there for them. But I do think it is time that we set this precedence.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, we're just a call away. No one's not going to
Exactly.
answer the phone if there's an emergency or not even emergency, just if anyone needs any guidance or has a question or whatever.
We'd said that we would take this week by week as
Yeah.
situations change, and we made the best decision we felt like last week, and as situations do change, we are reevaluating. I think Roma and Deb have made a very strong case for why we would change this.
Yeah, I think that's correct, and I think it's an issue of leading by example too. So, okay, then sounds like the board is in agreement. We will not meet in person next week. We will meet electronically moving from here on out until, I guess, indefinitely. I mean,
We reevaluate
Right.
and make
right.
a different
Well,
decision.
I mean, I guess we haven't changed our position. We're still taking it week by week. We're just
Correct.
And there is a structure in place that the chair can continue to sign on behalf of all 5 of us following a voice vote, because we want to make sure that employees are continued to be paid and that all the claims are processed and all of the business that's normally transacted can
Right.
continue.
right. Carrie, do we need to do anything in regards to?
Do we need a motion?
Yeah.
Well, we already have a policy that says the chair can sign for the entire board, but a lot of the contracts that come to us have 5 signature lines.
Right.
So I don't know, maybe a motion to say that, that they don't all need to sign on those 5 signature lines, just the signature of the chair is fine if there's an affirmative vote to approve the item.
I honestly don't know off the top of my head if that's something that is okay. I know for a lot of the contracts, it'd probably be simple to just have the signature page amended to just be the chair. So that is something we could work on in the background, but I can look into that. But off the top of my head, I don't know right now.
There's a statute that says basically one can do what they all can do. So if there's a vote at the board, it still requires board action.
Okay,
But
well-
the signature, some contracts have just 1 signature, some have 5, but I
So,
can talk to you about that.
just to be careful then, I will move that we authorize the chair to sign documents following a voice vote of all commissioners.
During the
Dur-
time we're not
right.
meeting together in person.
Correct.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.
So then, Dan, Leslie, let's just talk briefly after the meeting, and we'll get a process figured out. Anything else?
Is there any way in which, can you do electronic signatures? Or do they have to be actual handwritten? Because that would eliminate going back and forth.
That also depends on what the contract is. Some statutes still require wet signature, some can be electronic. It just depends on the individual contract itself.
Yeah, okay, I just was wondering. I know that, well,
Okay. That was the only item that I had for COVID response that I felt like we should discuss it. I do have the numbers back from the public defender, so I think Commissioner Vess and I will go and we'll probably start trying to have some of those conversations that we talked about last week, so got them all finalized this morning, so I appreciate their quick turnaround on that. That's all I had.
I would just say kudos to all those who, this has been a big venture to take steps to protect our folks at the jail, and led, of course, by Brad Johnson, but so many other department heads and elected officials have cooperated with the process. We can't thank them all enough. It's given Brad, and at this point, everything's just like it's always been, carrying forward, very stable environment. But it does allow flexibility if something changes, and that's been a very good outcome for the folks out there. Appreciate everyone's efforts. Everyone who's contributed to changing that dynamic deserves a big thank you from the county.
Agreed. Anything else on COVID-19 response?
I would just add that I did visit our friends at the Community Blood Bank this morning. A very gentle and very professional group there that will walk you through the process of donating blood. Have received good news on that front in that two things have helped change the situation in Lancaster County. One, elective surgeries are on hold, so the demand has dropped. But the response from our community has been very good. They said the number of people who have come out and donated for the first time has been very gratifying. So our county, once again, has responded very well to the need that is before it. And they will still take blood. It's stable, not a surplus at this time, but for those who are inclined to give, I hadn't given for 20-some years. They make it a very easy process to go through and take good care of you while you're there.
I had kind of an interesting thing when I was at the blood bank. There was a mom that brought in both of her teenage daughters. First time giving.
Nice.
Good for them.
Get them early.
Get them early, get them started young.
Well, their mobile units are confined now. They can't use their mobile units, which is ordinarily where they get the vast bulk of their donations. So it's really been dependent on people coming to them, and so that makes the response even all the more gratifying. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I move the
I think we can.
public opinion.
Yeah, we can
public comment.
proceed to public comment then.
Number 5 is public comment. Those wishing to speak on items relating to county business not on agenda may do so at this time.
Seeing no members of the public present, I think we'll move on.
Next is announcements. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold a staff meeting via Zoom on Thursday, April 2nd, 2020 at 8:30 a.m. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners will hold its next regular meeting on Tuesday, April 7th, 2020 at 9 a.m. in room 112 of the County City Building, with the Board of Equalization immediately following. County Commissioners can be reached at 402-441-7447 or commish@lancaster.ne.gov. The Lancaster County Board of Commissioners meeting is broadcast live on Link TV City. For the broadcast schedule, visit lincoln.ne.gov. Meetings are also streamed live on Link TV and can be viewed on YouTube.
Move we adjourn?
Second.
We have a motion and a second for adjournment. Is there any discussion? Please call the roll.
Vest,
Yes.
Shore,
Yes.
Amundson,
Yes.
Yocum,
Yes.
Flowerday.
Yes.
Motion carries 5-0.